on the Fantasy Football Happy Hour set with Lawrence Jackson. I'm Matthew Berry, and we are joined by, we often say we're joined by a Hall of Famer, but in this case, we are actually joined by a Pro Football Hall of Famer.
Yes.
T.O., one of the all-time greats of
Appreciate
all
you.
time, top 3 in the NFL in terms of receiving yards and touchdowns of all time.
Yes.
Of all time.
Appreciate it.
One of the truly, truly great wide receivers in NFL history. Thank you for joining us, and you're here thanks to our friends at M&M's. What are you doing with them?
Yeah. Thanks for having me. You guys haven't seen the commercial yet?
Not yet.
Man,
Tell me about this.
I had a blast. Shot it in New York with Dan, fellow Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Dan Marino and Bruce Smith. And yeah, man. So obviously it's like a good and a bad thing. It's kind of like a backhanded compliment in a way that we almost were champions. You know what I mean? So making these, they gave us these championship rings made out of peanut butter M&Ms. You know what I mean? So, you know, what better comfort food you can have than some chocolate? So got a chance to work with those guys and the lovely Scarlett Johansson. We've been keeping it under wraps for so long, and I heard they revealed the commercial, I think this morning. So yeah, so it's been a pleasure.
That's pretty cool, and maybe you can give some advice to Lawrence. Lawrence, also an almost champion. He finished last in our league this year.
Oh, last? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I had some injuries though. I had a lot of injuries going on my team.
Okay, so what happened was
he gonna leave that part out.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, we can give you some comfort food, man.
Yeah,
Give you some of these
I'll
M&Ms.
take
And for
it.
people that's watching and listening, if you want to see the full commercial, go to M&Ms.com. And if you're here in Vegas, go check out the M&M big store over there.
It is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
I've gone there. I've gone with my kids. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Just a warning: if you go there with your kids, it's going to take you a while to get out. I'm just saying.
And they're going to be pretty amped up if they
Yes,
get the
they
hold of
are.
that chocolate, I'm sure.
Yes, they are. All right. So obviously, listen. You played with the 49ers for a long time, eight seasons, I believe.
Yep.
You're a 49ers legend. You're rocking the gear. What are we expecting on Sunday? What does San Francisco need to do to beat Kansas City?
I think the same thing that they did to beat the Detroit Lions, being down the deficit that they were. Obviously, when you get in a situation, I think with Brock Purdy, him being at the helm, hopefully it's a different result with him playing for 4 quarters. You saw at the end of the game and at key moments in the game, it was fight or flight. You have to take what the defense gives you. And I know there's been this discussion about, is he an elite quarterback, this and that and the other.
Yeah.
He's shown that he can play at a high level.
Right.
He's shown at different times that you can stay in the pocket and pass and do what you need to do, but when the defense gives you something, you take it.
Yeah.
And so I'm extremely happy for the guy to be called Mr. Irrelevant to now relevant.
Yes.
I mean, what more can you say about what he's done? But this whole notion about he's not an elite quarterback, he's playing elite enough to be playing in the Super Bowl game this Sunday.
Yeah.
It really is kind of a movie, right? Last pick in the draft, and 2 years later, you're starting the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. And again, unfortunate thing last year. But again, like you said, not a lot of people are fortunate to get back. And
Very
here
true.
he is, right at the doorsteps of winning a championship. So I'm super happy. I'm super happy for the organization. This 6th championship trophy has been elusive for a number of years.
Definitely.
And I think what's key for the 49ers that we all know the defense hasn't played well these last 2 games, and this is what they need to do best this time around because there is no tomorrow.
Yeah, and on that offense, T.O., they got 2 of the top receivers in Debo and Brandon Ayuk on that side. But just overall in the league as a whole, who's a few wide receivers that stand out to you like is the top-tier elite guys coming from a top 3 all-time receiver like yourself? Who is in that top tier today? Because we got new guys that, like Amon-Ra St. Brown, he had a great season.
Absolutely. Guy like that. Yeah, we had him on our podcast, Get Your Popcorn Ready, before the season started. Really didn't know much about the guy. Got to meet his dad, understand who he was, how he got to be the receiver who he was. It talked about his brother.
Yeah.
Again, you think about what he did for and what he's doing for that organization. The Detroit Lions definitely they could have been here right now. Today, we're talking about them just with his play alone. But if you think about the receivers today, I like the Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about Metcalf. Obviously, similar body types. You got to think about the Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, those guys like that. For me, it's just the consistency. Tyreek Hill had a hell of a year, and you got to be healthy enough to put up the numbers that these guys has amassed.
Do players? I would think just because you're such an iconic wide receiver, Do the and you know you haven't been out of the league that long. Do the kids come to you? Do wide receivers come out to you and say, Tio, I need some advice. Can I help? Can you help me out?
You would think that they do, some don't. And again, so I get it. Any of the guys that I've run across, especially DK Metcalf, throughout the course of the years that he's been in, we text. I'll shoot him some pointers if I see something going on or some ways to improve his game. Yeah. But these guys, they want to kind of, I guess, find their way, find their path the best that they can. Like I said, I feel like I'm relatable in a number of ways. Started out from a small school, made it big time, and like I said, I'm always accessible whenever these guys need me, if be.
See, that's if I'd had your number a while ago, I'd have been in the NFL. That's the issue. I didn't have T.O.'s number.
Sure. Speaking of your school, shout out to UT Chattanooga, right?
UT Chattanooga, yes, sir.
T.O., one of your most famous quotes, of course, is "That's my quarterback." The famous press conference, one of the all-time great football moments there. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes out of it, and I'm taking Brock Purdy out of it. Okay? So if I said you have to stand up at a podium and say that again, that's my quarterback. Give me 3 guys in the NFL that aren't playing on Sunday that you'd say that about, that you'd want to be your quarterback if you were playing today.
Like that they're not playing in the Super Bowl. The current quarterbacks,
the current quarterbacks in the NFL. But I know you. I'm gonna take the homer out of it with Brock Purdy and Mahomes, of course, as well. So I'm taking those 2 guys out of it.
Probably Jared Goff.
Because
he's a guy like I've watched his career. It didn't end well with the Rams. Like I said, they made that swap. And I understand, like I said, being in that position and not being able to produce for a city. And again, like I said, he's done wonders. And if you think about the guys that are playing or played in the AFC Championship, those four quarterbacks, and you're only going to go as far as your quarterback takes you.
Yeah.
And the quarterbacks that played in these championship games, it's very rare, very, very indicative of their play. Look at Lamar Jackson. They didn't go as far as they needed him to do because of some of the things that I think he didn't do. I think he played into the hype of him not being a pocket passer, and he stayed in the pocket a little bit too long. But again, obviously Jared Goff is one of those guys. Maybe a Joe Burrows.
Sure.
I like him. He's a winner. And who else? I'm gonna give a shout out to my guy Russell Wilson.
All right,
Russell Wilson. I think he's gotten a raw deal there with the Denver Broncos, and I admire his professionalism, the way that he's kind of just stuck to his faith, and he'll land on his feet somewhere if it's not going to continue there with the Denver Broncos.
For sure. So he's a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Matthew brought up the quote, "That's my quarterback." So we gonna get back to that. We gonna have a little fun right now, right? So you got that quote, "That's my quarterback." Then you got, "I love me some me." Then you got, "Get your popcorn ready." Rank them quotes. Because the popcorn, everybody use that today still. Like, if you see some drama on social media, people going to use that popcorn emoji app.
I say, get your popcorn ready. I love me some me. Ooh, and you see how I put myself second? But I do love me some me, though. I should have brought. I got my hoodie. I should have brought my hoodie out here because I got that on one of my hoodies that I'm branding.
Yeah.
So if you want to get that hoodie, go to my website right now. I'm shameless plug.
Prototype81.com.
I got some new hoodies. I love me some me. I got the white and the black. It's fire. Yeah, my boy gonna show. He's got it over there. So I was get your popcorn ready.
Number 1.
I love me some me.
Number 2.
That's my quarterback.
There you go.
Get your pop. It's really amazing because get your popcorn ready, to your point, has become part of popular culture. Like everyone, I don't think it's just associated with you now. Oh, there we go. Let's get the merch out here. Let's see this.
Yeah, this is that hoodie right here.
I love me
some me.
That's me.
That's sweet.
And the front right here. Yes, sir.
There you go.
All right. T.O., last question. I know everyone wants to talk to you, so they want to get after you, but I'm just curious. So we're a fantasy football show. When people come up to you, does that happen in your life at all? Do people talk to you about when they had you in fantasy football? Do you play? Have you ever played any now? How often does it come up in your life these days?
Is this a PG show or not? Men and women.
All right.
Men and women. I've been their fantasies.
Fair enough.
I've been their fantasy. But it's amazing that I've had so many people when I play, and I wasn't really wasn't really so consumed with fantasy football.
Sure,
why
would
obviously
you be?
we were on the embryonic stage of that. So everybody's like, oh my gosh, I had you on my fantasy, you won me so much money. Yeah. I should have brokered a deal with these guys and got like 10, 20% or something.
Where's my cut?
Right, exactly, because I get that all the time, man. It's like, man, you was a monster, man. It's like, man, you won me so much money. And what's so crazy is that, honestly, if I was I knew that were games. I knew, like, how many touchdowns I felt like I was going to score going into the week based on preparation, based on who I was going to be playing, this and that. I always had conversations riding to the stadium, either with my brother, my mom, or close friends, and they were like, man, how's you looking? How's the game looking this week? I would within like a 1 or 2 touchdowns, I'm like, I'm probably going to score like maybe 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, like literally just because of who I was, honestly, how I really just worked hard and I prepared myself. And like I said, I just knew just by the game plan that everything went according to plan, and then understanding my playmaking ability. I know Cam and everybody was going on this game manager type thing, whatever. With a receiver, there's playmakers and there's game changers. And those can obviously, like I said, with those 2 type of players, the dynamics of those guys, you can really change the game. And I felt like I was one of those. I was a playmaker. I started to be a playmaker, and then I started to realize my skill set, that I became a game changer based on the quarterback, and obviously when I got my hands on the ball.
You love me some me. We love us some T.O.
And I love me some peanut butter M&Ms.
T.O., thanks so much, my friend.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys, man. I enjoyed this.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.